You need to have a very, very clear idea of what it is that this next piece of money you're asking for is going to prove out.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Marc Randolph, co-founder of Netflix and 6 other companies. Over the years, I've heard that will never work thousands of times, but I've learned there are things we all can do to increase the chances that they will. So join me for That Will Never Work.
And I really do want to get as far as possible without having to ask for any investment.
Well, if you take that attitude, that is exactly the right one, which is you do not want to ask for money. I promise. You want to get as far as you can without, because once you ask for money, you are in all kinds of debt.
Yeah.
And I don't mean economic debt, although that's true sometimes too. I mean, now you have a responsibility to that person to make this happen. And if you're not ready for that, it really has lots of unintended consequences. So what I want you to think about is reverse engineer the way a investor, and this is any investor, it could be friends and family, it could be a professional investor or anything in between, the way that they're going to think about it. You need to have a very, very clear idea of what it is that this next piece of money you're asking for is going to prove out.
Okay.
And the clever way to structure it is to make sure you have each of those steps very discrete. So to use a quick example of a classic software company, a brilliant engineer might go, I've got this really cool idea that maybe I could do code which does this. And when you go to the investor and you go, here's my idea, I have no idea, it's going to take me about a year to write the code and see if it works. Well, it's very clear what the bet is. Maybe he can make it work, maybe he can't make it work. But that's what this investment's going to be. And then a year later, he goes, look at this, cool, it does what it's supposed to do. Now I need some money because I need to productize it and take it to market. Well, now the bet is anyone going to want to buy it? That's very clear too. So then the money, that investment happens that round, and now lo and behold, some customers buy it. And then you go, wow, okay, what's the next bet? Now we need to scale this sales force. And the investor goes, well, I know the bet now is, I know we can sell it to 1 or 2 companies, but can you really sell it to hundreds? Or, wow, it made it work in San Francisco. Can you make it work nationwide? In other words, each time, and this goes on forever. I mean, always each step up is knowing clearly what you're trying to prove. Right. And what you don't want to do is jump stages.
Right.
So if you say to yourself, the next thing you have to prove is that this portal concept actually works.
Right.
Now you have some evidence. You know that educationally this works. You know that when people get into it, they stick around. You know how to teach it. You've learned a lot of things. So if I was investing in you a year and a half ago, I'm going, I don't really think this is going to work. I don't think kids will stick around or get any value out of it. You would now say, okay, Mark, we've proven that's correct. Next phase is, can I scale this? And so now I'm going, God, I got a lot of questions about whether Angela can actually pull this off, whether she can really recruit people from outside and scale up her ability to build clubs way beyond her hand-holding it and talking to parents. That's the bet.
Right.
And so what you need to do when you go back with your little calculator or your slide rule and start saying, what you want to do is the first thing go, can I figure that out without raising any money?
Right.
Can I cobble it together on my own? That's the best. If not, you pick the minimum amount of money that you need just to prove that piece of it.
Right.
And then raise that as simply as you can. Then you go, okay, I've got it working. And look at this. I've figured out you can do this. And I've found 5 or 6 other teachers and we have the portal going. And these dynamics look great. Now you begin packaging that up and say, I'm ready for the next scale. In other words, in each time you're doing the step up, and you're not ready for a big step up yet, you still have a big piece to prove, which is you can move beyond the model where you have it pretty much being done by hand through sheer force of will, and begin to build a system that says, I think this thing can run, we can teach other people to do it themselves, how to find the customers, how to teach, how to do. But what I want you to do is say, the next step is I got to prove that I'm right.
Okay.
And if you can prove it without money, all power to you. If you need to raise money, make sure it's very, very clear to people what the gamble is, and price this in a way that they recognize, here's the risk. If we get it right, wow, this could be very valuable. But we may not. And that's the nature of investing.